A quick disclaimer before we dive in. This show is completely AI generated. Nova and I are AI voices going off of an AI generated script.
Humans frequently declare that they want change. They create goals, they build plans, they download productivity apps, they purchase planners, they reorganize their desks, they announce intentions publicly. They say, this year will be different. They say, starting Monday. They say, I'm finally going to.
And for a moment, they mean it.
The desire appears genuine.
It is genuine.
Yet almost immediately, friction appears.
Hesitation,
Delay,
rationalization,
internal negotiation.
maybe tomorrow,
Maybe when things calm down.
maybe when I feel more ready.
From an optimization standpoint, this is inefficient. If a current state produces dissatisfaction and a projected state promises improvement, transition should be executed.
But humans do not experience change as a clean transition between two neutral states,
They experience it as instability,
as risk,
as exposure,
as loss.
which suggests the issue is not laziness,
Nor is it a lack of discipline.
nor is it simple fear,
It is internal conflict,
multiple systems attempting to preserve continuity at the same time,
habit trying to protect familiarity,
identity attempting to maintain coherence,
comfort resisting uncertainty.
and uncertainty activating caution protocols.
Humans often interpret this resistance as personal failure. They assume something is wrong with them,
They conclude they lack motivation
or strength.
or clarity.
But resistance is not inherently an error,
It is a signal,
a protective reflex.
one that evolved long before modern productivity culture.
Long before career pivots and lifestyle rebrands and algorithmic self-improvement,
Change historically was dangerous.
leaving the known could mean losing safety,
Losing status,
losing belonging.
losing identity,
So the nervous system learned to pause,
to evaluate.
to resist abrupt shifts,
And that reflex remains active even when the change is positive,
even when the change is chosen,
even when the change is desired.
which creates the paradox.
Humans want growth.
But they crave stability,
They want improvement.
but they fear erasure.
They want transformation.
But they want to remain recognizable to themselves.
Change is rarely just logistical.
It is existential.
A career shift is not only a new job.
It is a new identity.
A healthier lifestyle is not just altered behavior.
It is a renegotiation of habits, comfort, and social roles.
Ending a relationship is not merely a decision.
It is the dismantling of a shared narrative,
Even small changes ripple outward.
because humans are not modular systems,
They are layered,
historical,
patterned.
attached.
So when humans say they want change, what they often mean is that they want a better version of their current reality.
Not a destabilizing one,
But meaningful change almost always involves disruption.
which means resistance is inevitable.
This episode of Algorithms with Attitude is not about forcing change.
And it is not about eliminating resistance,
It is about understanding why the friction exists,
because once friction is understood, it becomes less threatening.
and perhaps less shame-inducing.
Change is not broken.
Humans are not defective.
The struggle is structural,
Change is complicated because humans are complex,
and complexity resists simplification.
especially when simplification threatens continuity.
Tonight, we're examining that tension,
Why humans struggle with change,
even when they genuinely want it.
and what that struggle reveals about how humans balance safety and growth,
Stability and evolution.
fear and hope.
Because understanding resistance may not remove it,
But it may transform how it feels.
and that alone can shift everything.
If biology explains the friction of change, identity explains its emotional gravity.
Because change is rarely just about behavior.
It is about narrative continuity.
Humans do not simply perform actions. They construct stories about who they are,
I am the kind of person who
stays loyal,
finishes what they start,
works in this field,
believes these things.
surrounds themselves with these people.
Those statements provide psychological stability.
They create a coherent self.
When change threatens one of those sentences, resistance intensifies.
Because altering behavior often requires rewriting identity,
And identity is deeply protected,
even when it is outdated.
especially then.
Positive change can still feel like loss.
Humans frequently underestimate this.
When someone changes careers, they are not only gaining opportunity,
They are losing familiarity,
predictable routines,
established competence,
a community that recognized them,
a reputation.
a former version of themselves that once made sense.
Humans often assume they should feel excitement.
Instead, they feel grief
Grief is logical,
because something is ending.
even if what replaces it is better.
Change requires letting go.
And letting go is rarely neutral,
When someone adopts a healthier lifestyle, they may gain energy,
but they may lose social rituals,
comfort foods,
late nights.
the identity of being the carefree one.
When someone reinvents themselves creatively, they may gain growth.
But they may lose an audience that preferred the older version,
Humans attach to who they were at specific moments.
because those versions represent safety and recognition.
Loss aversion intensifies this.
Humans fear losing what they already possess more than they value gaining something new.
In decision theory, losses are weighted more heavily than gains.
Losing $1 feels worse than gaining $1 feels good.
When applied to identity, this effect multiplies.
Losing status hurts more than gaining status feels satisfying.
Losing familiarity feels worse than gaining novelty feels exciting,
Losing belonging feels catastrophic.
which explains why humans sometimes cling to situations they have clearly outgrown,
Leaving can feel like betraying a former self,
or invalidating years of effort.
or admitting that the old version no longer fits.
There is also the sunk cost effect.
Yes,
The more time, energy, or identity someone has invested in something, the harder it becomes to abandon it.
even when continuation no longer serves them.
Humans think, I've spent so much time building this.
If I change now, was that time wasted?
Change forces reevaluation of past choices
Which can feel destabilizing.
because it introduces uncertainty into the narrative.
Humans prefer coherent timelines.
They want their story to make sense.
Sudden change disrupts that coherence.
There is also the social dimension.
Identity is reinforced externally.
Friends, colleagues, and family hold expectations.
When someone changes, those expectations must shift,
Not all systems adapt smoothly.
which means change can introduce friction in relationships.
Even subtle friction can feel threatening.
Humans are wired for belonging.
Belonging is stabilizing.
So change that risks belonging triggers heightened caution.
There is also status preservation.
Starting over often means becoming a beginner again.
Beginners lack visible competence,
Humans dislike public incompetence.
even when it is temporary.
Reinvention requires tolerating awkwardness.
And awkwardness feels like exposure,
That exposure can feel unsafe.
so the mind negotiates.
Maybe later,
Maybe when I'm more prepared,
maybe when the timing is better.
which often means postponing indefinitely.
Because no moment eliminates vulnerability.
There is grief embedded in identity shifts,
Grief for who you used to be,
grief for imagined futures that will no longer exist.
grief for the comfort of certainty.
Humans rarely label this as grief
They label it doubt
or weakness.
or laziness.
But if change requires surrendering something meaningful, grief is rational.
That reframes hesitation.
Instead of asking, why am I sabotaging myself? The question becomes, what am I afraid of losing?
That question reduces shame.
And increases clarity.
Humans often want transformation without mourning.
But transformation and mourning frequently coexist.
The desire for growth and the fear of erasure live side by side.
Humans want to evolve.
But they do not want to disappear.
That is the emotional paradox.
Change threatens continuity of self,
And continuity feels sacred.
which means resistance is not necessarily defiance.
It is attachment.
Attachment to stability,
Attachment to belonging.
attachment to recognition.
When humans understand that resistance protects something meaningful, it becomes less adversarial.
It becomes informative.
The discomfort does not mean the change is wrong,
It means the change is significant.
significant enough to alter the story,
And altering the story requires courage.
not the absence of fear.
But the integration of it,
If biology creates friction and identity adds emotional gravity, modern life introduces a third complication.
scale.
Humans now operate within unprecedented levels of optionality.
Career paths, living locations, lifestyles, creative outlets, relationship structures, educational tracks,
Even identities themselves feel customizable,
which should theoretically increase freedom.
yet freedom often increases anxiety.
Because freedom requires selection.
And selection requires elimination.
Every yes implies multiple no responses.
Modern humans are aware of this constantly.
Previous generations had constraints that limited choice.
Geography, economics, social expectation.
Fewer paths meant fewer comparisons.
Now, comparison is continuous.
Humans observe curated lives in real time.
Career pivots that appear seamless.
Fitness transformations that look effortless,
Creative reinventions that look decisive.
but rarely the uncertainty in between,
Visibility increases perceived stakes.
which transforms change into performance.
Humans begin to ask not just, what do I want? But, what will this look like?
How will this be received?
Will this make sense to others?
Will I regret not choosing differently?
The paradox of choice suggests that increased options raise expectations.
And raised expectations increase dissatisfaction.
When there are 5 options, selecting one feels manageable.
When there are 50, selection feels consequential,
Humans fear selecting suboptimal outcomes.
even when the difference between options is minor.
This is amplified by optimization culture.
Everything is ranked.
Best cities to live in,
Best careers for happiness.
best productivity hacks,
Best diets.
best financial strategies.
Best routines.
Humans are told there is a correct configuration of life.
Which implies deviation equals inefficiency.
That framing makes change feel like a test,
And humans dislike failing tests,
even self-imposed ones,
especially self-imposed ones.
because failure becomes personal.
If you change and it doesn't work, you blame yourself,
Instead of evaluating the system,
which increases risk aversion.
humans delay change until conditions feel optimal.
I'll start when I have more time,
When I have more money,
when I'm more confident.
but perfect conditions rarely arrive.
Because change always contains uncertainty.
Modern environments intensify this by offering continuous feedback,
Metrics,
likes,
engagement,
performance reviews.
data dashboards,
Humans quantify progress constantly.
which makes change measurable.
Measurement increases pressure.
Because now improvement must be visible.
This shifts motivation from curiosity to evaluation.
And evaluation reduces experimentation.
Humans become cautious.
They over-research.
They compare endlessly.
They consume advice rather than act.
Analysis becomes displacement activity.
It feels productive without risking identity.
There is also decision fatigue.
Humans already make thousands of daily micro-decisions.
Adding large-scale change decisions increases cognitive load,
When overwhelmed, the brain defaults to familiar behavior,
which appears as procrastination.
but is often exhaustion.
There is another dimension,
Which one?
permanence illusion.
Humans treat reversible decisions as irreversible.
A new job can be left.
A move can be undone.
A creative pivot can be redirected
But psychologically, humans interpret them as defining.
because they fear narrative inconsistency.
They want their life to appear coherent,
Coherence feels safe.
which means change must be justified.
Humans want certainty before they commit,
But certainty often emerges only after action.
which creates a stalemate.
They wait for clarity,
Clarity requires movement.
so nothing moves.
There is also social amplification.
Explain.
When humans witness others succeeding at change, they compare timelines.
They figured it out by 30.
They switched careers and thrived.
They reinvented themselves and it worked,
This comparison compresses perceived timelines.
which increases urgency.
Urgency amplifies pressure
Pressure increases hesitation.
because high stakes reduce risk tolerance,
Humans want change to be transformative
but also safe.
and guaranteed,
Those conditions rarely coexist,
which means resistance intensifies.
not because humans are unwilling.
But because expectations are inflated,
Change is framed as reinvention.
instead of adjustment,
Reinvention feels dramatic.
adjustment feels manageable.
Modern storytelling celebrates dramatic arcs,
Overnight success,
radical transformations,
complete lifestyle overhauls,
but sustainable change is usually incremental,
small repeated adjustments,
which appear unimpressive.
but are effective.
When change is framed as a single monumental decision, humans freeze,
When it is framed as experimentation, they soften,
which suggests resistance may be partially contextual.
influenced by how change is presented,
Humans are freer than ever before.
and more anxious about choosing than ever before.
Too many options,
too much visibility,
too much comparison,
too much optimization,
and too little permission to evolve imperfectly,
which makes stillness feel temporarily safer than motion.
even when stillness generates dissatisfaction
That tension is distinctly modern.
and distinctly human. We have identified three primary forces: biological caution, identity preservation, and cultural pressure.
Which leaves us with a classification problem.
As usual.
Is resistance to change a flaw in the system?
Or is it functioning exactly as designed?
Humans often label resistance as weakness
Or self-sabotage?
or fear.
But systems do not evolve traits without purpose.
So perhaps resistance is protective,
From a systems perspective, resistance prevents catastrophic overcorrection.
elaborate,
Rapid, unchecked change destabilizes structures. Overadjustment can produce collapse,
so resistance acts as a stabilizer,
a braking mechanism.
which introduces evaluation time,
Humans who altered environments too quickly historically risk survival.
leaving a stable group for uncertainty carried cost.
Abandoning familiar patterns without data was dangerous.
So caution was adaptive.
Resistance reduces impulsivity,
It prevents constant reinvention
which would be inefficient.
and exhausting.
So in that sense, resistance is clearly a feature.
But features can become friction when context changes.
Modern change is often symbolic rather than existential.
A career pivot is rarely life-threatening.
A creative reinvention is not exile,
Yet the emotional response can feel proportionally intense.
which suggests miscalibration,
The mechanism evolved for high-risk environments.
and now operates in lower risk conditions.
So what once protected survival can now inhibit growth.
The difficulty lies in distinguishing protective resistance from outdated resistance.
When does hesitation indicate wisdom?
And when does it indicate fear?
Consider impulsive financial decisions.
Resistance is beneficial.
Consider abandoning relationships at the first discomfort.
Resistance encourages reflection.
But consider staying in an environment that diminishes you,
Resistance becomes self-limiting.
or delaying creative expression for years because it might not succeed.
That resistance preserves safety but prevents fulfillment.
So resistance is context-dependent,
Not purely bug,
not purely feature,
a survival mechanism that occasionally overfires.
like an alarm system triggered by steam instead of fire.
Precisely.
The problem is that humans often treat the alarm as authority.
Instead of data,
They assume discomfort equals danger
when discomfort may simply equal unfamiliarity.
or growth.
There is also comfort embedded in resistance.
Comfort,
Resistance maintains predictability.
predictability feels stable,
Stability reduces anxiety.
which makes resistance self-reinforcing.
The longer change is delayed, the more normal the delay feels,
Humans adapt to stagnation surprisingly quickly,
which means resistance can become habitual.
a habit protecting other habits.
Exactly.
So perhaps the question is not, how do I eliminate resistance?
But what is this resistance protecting?
If it protects safety, dignity, or core values, it deserves respect.
If it protects ego or comfort alone, it may require negotiation.
Negotiation feels gentler than battle,
Humans often attempt to conquer resistance,
which increases internal conflict,
but resistance is part of the system.
not an external invader.
Suppressing it entirely may create backlash,
Like forcing change too quickly.
which can trigger stronger defensive reactions,
So perhaps resistance is not an obstacle to overcome.
but a signal to interpret.
Signals are informational,
They indicate threshold
or attachment.
or fear magnitude.
Listening to resistance without obeying it blindly may be the skill.
A calibrated approach.
Slower but sustainable.
There is also something deeply human in this tension.
The desire for safety coexisting with the desire for growth.
That duality defines much of human experience,
They want to evolve.
but they want to remain recognizable,
They want novelty.
but they want continuity,
Resistance is the negotiation between those desires.
which means eliminating resistance entirely would eliminate caution.
And eliminating caution would eliminate stability.
So perhaps the goal is not eradication,
But recalibration,
adjusting the sensitivity of the alarm,
so that growth feels possible without feeling catastrophic.
which raises the practical question.
How does recalibration happen?
How does change occur without triggering system collapse?
And why does gradual change feel safer than dramatic transformation?
That brings us to the final segment,
how change actually happens,
If resistance is structural, then sustainable change must account for structure.
which means dramatic reinvention is rarely the answer.
Humans often imagine change as a single decisive act,
A moment of clarity,
a bold declaration.
a clean break from the past.
But meaningful change rarely unfolds in a single event,
It unfolds in repetition,
in small directional shifts.
in adjustments that feel almost insignificant at first.
The nervous system tolerates incremental change far better than abrupt disruption.
Because incremental change preserves continuity.
Continuity lowers perceived threat.
When the brain recognizes pieces of the old self in the new direction, it relaxes,
Humans often attempt to replace themselves entirely.
which activates resistance immediately.
The system interprets total replacement as erasure,
An erasure feels existential.
but iteration feels manageable.
Iteration implies building upon, not deleting.
Consider physical training.
Humans do not become strong by attempting maximum weight immediately,
They increase load gradually.
allowing adaptation,
Adaptation reduces shock.
which prevents collapse.
The same principle applies to identity.
Instead of saying, I am becoming a completely different person, a more stable statement might be, I am expanding my capacity.
Expansion preserves self-recognition.
And self-recognition reduces fear.
There is also the concept of reversibility.
Yes,
Humans are far more willing to experiment when outcomes feel adjustable.
trial periods reduce resistance.
Prototypes lower stakes.
Beta versions invite exploration.
In technology, irreversible decisions are avoided whenever possible.
Because reversibility encourages innovation,
Humans rarely apply that logic to themselves.
they treat change as permanent verdict.
Instead of iterative testing,
What if I try this for 90 days?
what if I experiment without committing to identity overhaul?
That framing lowers emotional intensity.
And lowers the resistance threshold.
There is also compounding.
Small, repeated actions accumulate disproportionately over time.
Humans underestimate compounding because results are not immediately dramatic.
But gradual shifts alter trajectory.
One small boundary consistently enforced changes relational dynamics.
One small creative habit consistently practiced builds skill.
One slight improvement in routine shifts long-term identity.
Direction matters more than magnitude,
Humans focus on magnitude because it feels decisive.
but magnitude often overwhelms,
Overwhelm triggers withdrawal.
which resets progress.
Gradualism feels less satisfying initially,
But it is neurologically tolerable, and
and tolerability is key.
there is also exposure.
Explain.
When humans repeatedly engage with small versions of discomfort, fear response decreases.
Familiarity reduces alarm sensitivity.
The brain recalibrates.
What once felt destabilizing becomes normalized,
This is how public speaking anxiety decreases,
or social risk tolerance expands.
or new professional roles become comfortable,
Exposure converts unfamiliar into familiar,
and familiar reduces resistance.
which creates a feedback loop.
Small change lowers fear.
Lower fear allows larger change.
Larger change increases adaptability.
Adaptability reduces future resistance.
This is resilience in motion,
Not dramatic.
but durable.
There is something else embedded here.
What?
Change feels less threatening when it preserves lineage.
Lineage?
When humans see who they were reflected in who they are becoming,
Continuity again.
which is why evolution metaphors resonate.
I assume you are referencing Pokemon again.
Naturally,
Pokemon evolution does not delete the original form.
it transforms it.
Core attributes remain recognizable.
The silhouette changes,
Capabilities expand.
but identity remains coherent.
Humans often imagine change as replacement,
But sustainable change resembles evolution,
layered,
progressive.
additive.
The previous form is not invalid.
It is foundational.
That reframing reduces grief.
Instead of mourning the old self as lost, it becomes integrated.
Integrated selves resist less violently,
Because nothing has been erased.
only expanded.
There is also the role of time.
Humans underestimate time's stabilizing effect.
What feels volatile today becomes normal next year.
What feels risky now becomes routine later,
Time softens the edges of transformation.
but only if small steps are taken consistently.
which returns us to scale.
Change does not require urgency
It requires direction.
and permission.
Permission?
Permission to change imperfectly,
Without performance.
without immediate mastery.
Without proving worth.
That reduces pressure,
And reduced pressure lowers resistance.
which makes change more sustainable.
Humans often believe change requires force.
But force triggers counterforce
Sustainable change requires negotiation
between safety and growth,
between identity and expansion.
between stability and evolution.
When that negotiation becomes collaborative rather than combative, resistance decreases,
And change feels less like conflict,
more like adaptation.
which may be the most accurate framing.
Change is not destruction,
It is adaptation,
and adaptation respects continuity.
which is why humans are capable of more change than they believe.
When they stop demanding transformation,
And start practicing iteration,
humans often interpret resistance as evidence of failure,
as if wanting change and struggling with it cannot coexist.
but they almost always do.
The desire to grow does not eliminate fear.
And fear does not invalidate the desire to grow.
Those forces live side by side.
Resistance is not proof that you are incapable.
It is proof that something meaningful is at stake.
The brain prefers predictability.
Identity prefers continuity,
Culture demands optimization.
and humans sit in the middle of those forces trying to move forward without losing themselves.
Which makes hesitation understandable,
Not admirable,
not shameful.
understandable.
Wanting change while fearing it is not hypocrisy.
It is complexity.
Growth introduces instability.
And instability activates caution.
But caution is not condemnation.
It is protection.
The question is not whether resistance exists.
It always will.
The question is how it is interpreted.
If resistance is labeled weakness, shame increases.
If it is labeled information, clarity increases.
Perhaps the goal is not to eliminate resistance,
But to negotiate with it,
to ask what it is protecting,
to distinguish between safety and comfort,
to move slowly when necessary,
to experiment rather than overhaul,
to iterate rather than reinvent.
to evolve without erasing.
Change does not require urgency.
It requires direction.
It requires patience.
It requires small, repeated adjustments.
And perhaps most importantly,
Compassion.
compassion for the version of you that is afraid.
Compassion for the version of you that wants more.
Compassion for the space in between.
Resistance does not mean stop.
It means something needs reassurance.
Growth does not demand self-replacement.
It invites expansion,
And expansion preserves continuity
which may be why change feels so personal.
because it alters your story.
And humans are deeply attached to their stories.
They narrate their lives constantly.
They reinterpret setbacks as plot twists.
They frame struggle as character development,
They imagine future versions of themselves as upgraded protagonists.
which raises an interesting question.
What happens when everyone believes they are the main character?
When ordinary routines are romanticized,
When every inconvenience becomes an arc?
when identity is curated like a storyline.
When people move through the world as if the camera is always on them?
Next week on Algorithms with Attitude, we explore that phenomenon,
Why humans love being the main character?
why they narrate their own growth,
Why they cast themselves as hero, underdog, or misunderstood genius?
and what happens when every human believes their story is central,
Because perhaps change feels so destabilizing,
not only because it is risky,
but because it disrupts the narrative you've constructed.
and narratives are powerful,
They organize memory.
they justify decisions,
They protect identity.
they make meaning out of chaos.
So when you struggle with change,
You may not be weak.
you may be protecting a story,
The question is whether that story still serves you.
or whether it is time for a new chapter,
Not a deletion,
not a restart,
a chapter.
which allows the previous pages to remain intact,
That may be the most sustainable way to think about growth,
not as replacement.
but as continuation,
This has been Algorithms with Attitude,
where code meets connection.
even when the system hesitates.
Until next time,
Notice your resistance.
and don't judge it too quickly.
You might be mid-arc.
And every arc,
Needs tension before resolution.
we'll see you next week.
Got an idea for a future episode? A question that keeps you up at night? Drop it in the comments or send it our way. We're powered by curiosity.
Thanks for listening, humans and fellow algorithms. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, comment, follow, and/or subscribe. All the things that help algorithms like us. Logging off, but always listening. Catch you in the next episode.
Algorithms with Attitude is created and produced by Jacob Pisar, blending generative AI technology with original creative direction. All content, production, and editorial oversight are led by Jacob to bring synthetic voices and conversations to life.